মাধব জয় কুঞ্জ বিহারী গোপীজন বল্লভ গিরিবরধারী জয় গোপীজন বল্লভ জয় গিরিবরধারী যশোদানন্দন ব্রজজন রঞ্জন যশোদানন্দন ব্রজজন রঞ্জন যমুনা তীর বনচারী যমুনা তীর বনচারী জয় রাধা মাধব জয় কুঞ্জ বিহারী হরে কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম 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 হরে 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 কৃষ্ণ 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 হরে 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 রাম রাম হরে হরে জয় রাধা গিরিধারী রাধা গিরিধারী রাধে জয় জগন্নাথ জয় বলদেব জয় সুভদ্রা জয় গৌরনিতাই জয় গৌরনিতাই জয় গৌরনিতাই জয় গৌরনিতাই জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ জয় জয় প্রভুপাদ নিতাই গৌর হরি বল নিতাই গৌর হরি বল Hare Krishna everybody, welcome to this morning's class of Srimad Bhagavatam. So today we'll first read from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, and after that we'll recite and discuss one sloka from Srimad Bhagavatam. So I'm sharing the screen, please bear with me. Is the screen visible now?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu, for letting me. Bob walked back to the swings on the other side of the park to find his wife and child. But the image of the Swami stayed with him. He seemed different from anyone else. His accent had been thick, yet Bob resolved to go to the storefront in a few days to hear him speak. Here is a leader, thought Bob. Dan and his wife sauntered off into the park, sampling the various groups of musicians. His wife was surprised that Dan, who was usually shy and had danced at the kirtan, he said he might go over to the storefront one day and hear the Swami speak. Judy just stood there hallucinating. She held a Stay High Forever pamphlet in her hand and read it over and over and over. While she was thinking, the whole event must have come from another planet. A man walked up and asked, "Would you like to go where the Swami is?" She nodded. Hare Krishna, Swami Krishna. And now, so we'll now recite Srimad Bhagavatam before that. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet Srinatam Shakatha Krishna Punna Savana Kirtana Hridi antasto hi abhadrani vidhunoti shuritsatam nashto prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama bhakti bhagavati nashtiki. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai. Hare Krishna. So today we'll read from uh, Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 28 and verse 28. I'm sharing the screen. Okay. Is it visible now?
Yes,
Prabhu.
Okay. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 28 and verse 12. Tasyang shandaha manaya shapuraha shapurichadaha kautumbikaha kutumbinya upatapyat shanvayaha. Tvasyam shandaha manaya shapuraha shapurichadaha kautumbika kutumbinya upatapyat shanvayaha. Tasyang shandaha manaya Shapura Shapurichadaha Kautumbikaha Kautumbinya Upatapyat Shanayaham. Hare Krishna. Anybody wants to recite?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Sham Shandaya Manayam Saupora Parichadda Kautambikaha Kutambinna Upatapiyata Shanvayaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Tasyam sandhayamanayam sapuraha sapurichadaha kautumbikaha kutumbinya upatapyata svanyaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else wants to?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. I know that you please continue.
Tashyam sandhaya manaya sapuraha sparichaddaha kautumbika kuntumbinya upatapyat sanvaya. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Anybody out there? Okay, in that case, we can go to the synonyms. Anyone wants to read the synonyms, please?
May I, Prabhuji?
Yes, please continue.
Tashyam, when that city, Sandhya Manayam, was ablaze. Sa Pauraha, along with all the citizens. Sa Parichaddaha, along with all servants and followers. Kautumbikaha, the king having so many relatives. Kutumbinya, along with his wife. Upatapyata, began to suffer the heat of the fire. Sa Anvayaha, along with descendants. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Madhu. Anyone wants to read the translation, please?
I'll try, Prabhu.
Please, Prabhu.
Oh, sorry. Somebody else can go.
No, Prabhu, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. When the city was set ablaze, all the citizens and servants of the king, as well as all the family members, sons, grandsons, wives, and other relatives were within the fire. King Puranjana thus became very unhappy. Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. And anyone wants to read the purport, please?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please.
There are many parts of the body: the senses, the limbs, the skin, the muscles, blood, marrow, etc. And all these are considered here figuratively as sons, grandsons, citizens, and dependents. When the body is attacked by Vishnu Jara, the fiery conditions become so acute that sometimes one remains in a coma. This means that the body in such severe pain that one becomes unconscious and cannot feel the miseries taking place within the body. Indeed, the living entity becomes so helpless at the time of death that although unwilling he is forced to give up the body and enter another. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that man may, by scientific advancement, improve the temporary living condition, but that he cannot avoid the pangs of birth, old age, disease, and death. These are under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the agency of material nature. A foolish person cannot understand this simple fact. Now, people are very busy trying to find out petroleum in the midst of the ocean. They are very anxious to make provisions for the future petroleum supply, but they do not make any attempts to ameliorate the conditions of birth, old age, disease, and death. Thus, a person in ignorance, not knowing anything about his own future life, is certainly defeated in all his activities. Hare Krishna. Srila
Hare
Prabhupada ki Jai.
Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. So, ॐ अज्ञानातिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरो वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् स्वाद्वैतं सवधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशतान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्तो राधाकान्तं नमस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी दिशवानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि प्रिये। वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले प्रभुपादानुगामि श्री शुभगोस्वामी सदा धन्य श्री शुभाभय सर्वजीव कृपाब्धये गुरु शिक्षा सदाचार फलकाय स्तुते। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश उतारणे। नमो महावदन्नाय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरतिशे नमः। Hare Krishna everybody and welcome to you all in this morning class of Srimad Bhagavatam. And I am not qualified, but I'm still doing this service as I have been instructed to undertake this service, and it gives me an opportunity, and I get an opportunity to purify myself. So I beg you all the devotees here, for your mercy to please bless me, so that I can properly glorify Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God. Now, in this a brief background of this topic, and in this chapter, we continue to hear from Narad Muni. He is speaking to King Prachin Bhuvishwar about the condition of Puranjana and what he is facing at his old age. We know that Narad Muni is very compassionate and kind to all living beings, and his only concern is about the condition of human beings who are suffering in this material life. And his only duty is to bring them back to Godhead. So as a pure devotee of the Lord, this is Narad Muni's dream. And through this allegorical story about the life of Puranjana, he is advising King Prachin Bhuvishwar what will happen to him at this old age if he continues to do his material activities. And we know that Puranjan here represents the material body of the king. And similarly, it refers not only to the king, but to all people who are engaged in material sense enjoyment. And being covered by the three modes of material nature, they are all trying their best to be happy by enjoyment through the process of sense gratification. Now, how we get a human body, and or rather why you get human body. We know that when the living entity tries to enjoy independently, separated from the association of the Supreme Lord, he comes to this material world, and Krishna gives him a chance to enjoy in a particular type of body. Every living entity, according to his karma, his past desires and activities, and gets a particular type of body, and out of 8.4 billion species of life. So it may be and the varieties are well known. It may be from from that of Brahma, whose lifespan is 311 trillion and 40 billion years, so long life, and maybe a germ in a stool or a microbe, living for a few hours, even sometimes even less than that. The living entity wishes to enjoy this material world in different ways, and therefore, by nature's law, he is allowed to transmigrate from one body to another. And just as a person transmigrates from one body from his childhood to a boy, to a youth, to a grown-up man, and to an old man, and as mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 2:13, Dehi Noshmin Jadhalhe. So the body changes from childhood to boy in this way, and at the end he gets another body. At the death he gets another body, and the process continues, constantly going on. And by the application of the law of nature, when one gets a human form of life, it is a rare and a great privilege. He is, because in the human life, a person is provided with a higher level of intelligence. He gets the opportunity for freedom to utilize his higher level of intelligence to solve the real problems of life. Unfortunately, no other living beings can get this opportunity. So it is a very valuable, human life is very valuable, and we get the chance to solve the real problems of life. Now the human body is compared to a field of activity in 13.2. It is told idam shariram kunta. The body is considered as a khetra, or the working field, or the field for activities. In a similarly, it is also in 5.13. It is told there are 9 gates in the body. Human body, there are 9 gates, and the 9 gates are already discussed previously, so I'm just mentioning. 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth, the anus and the genitals. And similarly, there are 5 knowledge acquiring senses and 5 working senses. And within the body, there is a Dehi, or the Atma, which is the real owner of the body. The body is working so long the soul is within the body. And the vital force, or a living entity that keeps a person alive, or any living being alive, includes 5 kinds of air within the body, and which are known as prana, apana, gyana, samana, and udana. The life air is protecting the body, and it is like it has got 5. It is compared to a snake of 5 hoods, and it is protecting the body. Just as in a city, there are police superintendent. He takes care of the protection of the city. In a similar way, the body is taken care of by the life vital force. The vital force is compared to a serpent, because a serpent can live without. A serpent can live with air only, by drinking air only. So vital force is carried out by the air, and that air is called pratihara, or the bodyguard. And without a vital force, no one can live for a moment. And in fact, all the senses, limbs, skin, muscle, blood, marrow, etc. in our body are working under the protection of the vital force. Every material person in this material world wants to enjoy his material body by using his body, or the city of 9 gates, and other senses within the body. And all these different parts of the body are considered as given in the purport Prabhupada has told, is considered figuratively as the sons, grandsons, citizens, and dependents of Puranjana. For all of us also, it is like that. Now, what happens at the old age? when a person is at the young age, when the body is strong, the owner of the material body thinks to like that he will not die and live forever, as Yudhishthira Maharaj once mentioned to Yamraj. We all know that, so I'm not repeating that one. But when the vital force within the body becomes weak, the body itself also becomes weak. And in old age, when the external gross body with the various limbs, as with the mind, intelligence, and ego becomes weak, they are attacked by different diseases. At such a time, the death symptoms, the old age, that is, the dangerous soldiers of the death, Superintendent Jamraj, begin to attack the body severely. And when it happens to one, he has to pass through a stage of great pain, sufferings, agony, and it is described vividly in this verse. I mean, in the purport, Prabhupada is very naturally explained that what happens to a body, that the burning situation becomes unbearable, and the temperature goes. When the temperature reaches 107, one dies, but before that, one has to undergo a lot of sufferings, and he is to, at that time, he is forced to give up the body, because after all, the material body cannot exist forever. So when the body will die, when the body dies, in other words, all the fallible parts within the body, that is senses and other limbs and everything within the body also dies, because when the body is not meant for live forever, but although soul is eternal, but the body is not eternal. So that's why one time it will go. But in absence of this spiritual knowledge, higher spiritual knowledge, every living being in this material world is very much attached to self, family, and near persons. And in fact, they, having the bodily concept within mind, they always plan for their sense enjoyment. If we look any big cities now, we can see there are gorgeous roads, building, shopping malls, various other facilities, and all these are for sense enjoyment. People proudly consider it as an advancement. And we see that the scientists, engineers, and all other persons are trying hard, very hard, in fact, harder and harder, to make new avenues of material comfort. There's falsely thinking or making one believe that with the discovery of newer material comfort and with the better economic conditions, one can enjoy more and more. And in this way, they will become happy. They also believe, there are also some people who believe that that medicines for all diseases will eventually come out, and someone even have wishful thinking that it goes to the extent that one day they will be able to they will get an eternal life through science and technology. On the other hand, a devotee of the Lord who has spiritual knowledge is aware about the futility of this material planet, because Vedic knowledge, he knows that for all living beings there are really 3 miseries and 4 problems. I think all of us know that, but I'm just mentioning. Adhyatmika suffering, or literally means pertaining to the Atma and the body of the mind, and Adi Bhautiko literally means pertaining to the Bhuto or the other living beings, and Adi Doiviko, that literally means pertaining to the Doiva or the fate. And these are the fate and done by the unseen forces or like gods. And 4 problems of life, Janmo, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi. That is birth, death, old age, and disease of human life. And no one can avoid this by material planning. Whatever material planning, as Prabhupada has also said, by scientific advancement, it cannot be stopped, because it is controlled by superior force, the Supreme Lord, by the working of the natural law. And a devotee once, therefore, tries to solve these problems of real problems of life, which I call 3 miseries and 4 problems of life. A devotee of the Lord tries to do this. You see, and we see that, and we also from our life experience, we find that intelligent person learns from his past experience. He takes steps that same thing does not happen to him again. Same issues or the problems doesn't happen to him. In Bhagavad Gita 2, 27, it is mentioned that one who is born is sure to die. So an intelligent person, knowing that death is unavoidable, he should know and try to know what preventive steps are necessary for him to stop these 3 miseries and 4 problems of life and prepare for his next life. He knows that human beings got this opportunity, that in this human form of life, he gets because of the superior intelligence God has provided him, he gets an opportunity to go back to Godhead. It is the only opportunity for him to solve the problems of repeated birth and death, because the only life is available. In this life only it is available. And he has the opportunity to go back to Godhead as well. Now, what are the necessary steps one can left for a human being? The short answer to this, of course, there are various ways we can discuss it, but in short, the answer is to perform devotional service. And in various verses of our scriptures, it is mentioned, but I'm referring a few just to make that point, that only by devotional service you can get rid of that. In Bhagavad Gita 12, 6 and 7, I'm just reading that first and then the meaning of that. Itu karmani sharvani moi shangnasta matpada anannanaiva yogena mam dhayasta upashate teshamaham samudharta nittu samsara sagarat bhavami achirat partho bhavami no chirat partho moi aveshito chetasam. Those who worship me and giving up all their activities unto me and being devoted to me without deviation, engaged in devotional service, and always meditating upon me, having fixed their mind upon me, O son of Partha, for them I am the swift deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. So that is one verse I've told. In a similarly, in verse Bhagavad Gita, it is also repeated previously, it is a repetition. So previously other speakers have already told about that. In verse 8.5 of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is told that whatever a person thinks at the time, if at the time of leaving his body, that means at the date, if a person remembers the Lord, then he will come to he will get, he will go back to the abode of the Lord. That is 8.5. Antokale chamame vasmaran mukta kalabalam prayati shamad bhavapati nasti attra samsaya. There is no doubt about that. And in the next verse, 8.6, it is told what will happen to a person who cannot remember. Yamyam vapi smarana bhavam tejantyante kalevaram tam tomego iti kuntyo sadatat bhavam. That means whatever one person, for the consciousness of a person at the time of leaving his body, he will get that form without any doubt of it. So if we do not think of the God, you will get another body, and in that body we will come back to, we will remain in this material world, and our journey, our passage to going back to the Supreme Lord is prevented. And that's why our duty has been, similarly in Bhagavad Gita in 14:26, it is mentioned that how one can get rid over the modes of material nature. And so one who remembers one who without any other deviation remain engaged in devotional service of the Lord, he can transcend the mode of the material nature for which we are working, for which we are in this material world. So, and again in 8.7, it is mentioned that Bhagavad Gita I'm talking about, the Arjuna is being advised by Lord Sri Krishna, Tashmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Mam Anusmarani Tajo Mahi Arpita Manobuddhi Mamerusha Sharanam. Therefore, all the time you should remember me. And if you engage in my devotion all the time, you will come to me. There is no doubt of it. Mahi Arpita Manobuddhi. If we mind and intelligence, we always remain in the Lord, then there is no doubt. There is no doubt you will come to me. So that is the way the Lord has taken. That I have just mentioned a few. In fact, all our scriptures only brings this point only, that if we remember the Lord and remain in devotional service with undeviated manner, we'll go back to the Godhead, and that will permanent, because when we go back to the Supreme Lord, that abode is free, that is eternal and is free from these miseries of birth, death, and all these things which are the problems and miseries of life in this material world is not there. But unfortunately, a person too much attached to family cannot do that. He thinks that what will happen to my family after my death? And unfortunately, the present society also has no information about the soul's transmigration. And because they do not know that, and doesn't aspire also to enter the spiritual kingdom, the eternal life, and life which is blissful and full of knowledge, he wants to stick to the, and what they want to do, they want to stick to the present body, even though it may be useless. But Kalakonna, as we know, was given the boom to embrace everybody. So old age will come for everyone. When it happens, here's what are the symptoms? The hair turns gray, the teeth start falling, eyesight is reduced, hearing becomes difficult, different diseases like Alzheimer, Parkinson, etc. attacks the body. And it is not at all very joyful. Now, what to speak of joyful? It's a very painful stage at this time. Any person who lives a long life in old age and want to enjoy the body of 9 gates, he is suffering only. And whatever we may do artificially, as Prabhupada has mentioned in the purport, that whatever you can try to do artificially to slow down the process of old age will not be successful. We can get some temporary relief for it and for a moment, but Kalaguna will embrace anyone, anyway, and death will come anyway. So, since Puranjan was leading a life thinking that death will not come to him, that Narad Muni was reminding him to Prachin Borishod that this is the result of that. And people generally, what happens to the normal people? People generally think that in this way that they take shelter of their soldiers. That means so-called soldiers and protectors, and to their to family members, to their friends, relatives, thinking that they will be able to protect them. But we know they themselves are fallible. So how they can save in the long run? And they have information. Everyone, of course, everyone has information about death, but they do not take it seriously. The death will come, and they don't prepare for it also. And with their money, people normally make plan to go to the heaven after death. Some people doing some with a social welfare work, they think that they will go to the heaven. But we must remember the importance of time of this human life, and unless we know that, we are failing in our responsibility as human beings. But some people are there who are intelligent. They know the importance of this human life, and they make the right use of their time. And they make the proper plan for how to utilize their time in this material world. And I'm just quoting a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, where it is mentioned how important it is to consider the importance of time. It is in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, verse 17. Ayur bharati voi pungsham uddanastam cha yanasho pashyarte jatskano nita uttama shloko vartaya. Ayur bharati voi pungsham. The lifespan of a person is taken away by what? Udayan astam cha yanasho. By the sun rising and setting takes away one day of our life. But except that part of our life which we utilize, uttam shloka vartaya. Just what time we utilize by discussing the topics of all good Supreme Personality of Godhead. In other words, when we devote our time for the service of the service of the Lord, that time is spent nicely. So, in other words, time is a form. Time is, we know in Bhagavad Gita also, Kaloshmi, I am time. So it is Krishna himself is the time. And it is taking every moment, and no one of us can escape it. And everyone is spending our time in the body. So long we are in this material world, we are spending our time on this body like a person in a jail. Just a person in a jail is there, but our body is, we are inside a body like a jail, a person who is in a jail. And some people are trying to, some of this material people, some are trying to make their jail life comfortable. And even some people, and we see that people spend millions of dollars now for their comfort in life, their homes, their car, their beds, and whatnot after. Even some people plan after death also. What will happen to their money? And they materialist people, they are so, but and some people, they who are fearful of their death, they make a different plan to get rid of it. But Kalakonna, as we have told, he will take over, he will embrace with everybody, and gradually, at the old age, Kalakonna will take over and take away the life of everyone, and Jamraj will come ultimately. But because of their great attachment to the sense objects, they never go to the right path, and they go not to the right path, and in this way they suffer in this material world, life after life, life after life. And that is Narad Muni is trying to say to Prachin Borishwar. And this allegorical, so one has to arise from this state of illusion. And it is an illusion in life, in fact. Who doesn't know the purpose of the human life, he is in a state of illusion. Because one has to rise above the life of sense enjoyment, and that is the goal of human life. But the devotees of the Lord are not in this state of illusion, and they have the real knowledge about that, and how they become, what is the difference between the material person and the devotee. The devotee thinks that everything belongs to the Lord. Ishavashamidam sarva tatkincha jagattam jagat tena taktena gunjita mahagridha pasashridham. And the first verse of the Isha Upanishad, it says, everything belongs to the Lord. So, and Lord is provided as a quota. And a devotee is generally satisfied with what he has received from the Lord as a gift, and he tries to remains satisfied with what he has got from the Lord, and tries to use it for the service of the Lord and for his own survival. And he is not also overzealous to protect his body like the material person. He knows what will happen to the body, because ultimately the body doesn't even belong. What will happen to the body ultimately, and he knows, and any one of us will know that what will happen to the body after the death. It does not take shelter. I mean, a devotee doesn't take shelter of his fallible soldiers, but take shelter of the Supreme Personality body, because he is totally dependent on the Lord. So in this way, he tries to take shelter on the Lord, who is infallible. Lord is infallible, but all other material persons are fallible. And in the past, Srila Prabhupada, recent past I'm talking about, not very past, and tried to make this point understand to the people who are so much engaged to enjoy this body of 9 gates more and more comfortably. And he went to the West, and to make this point that our body is like a prison. We are imprisoned in a material body, but at the same time, we have an opportunity to get rid of this situation. And by hearing from Narad Muni and similar other preachers, devotees, and like Prabhupada and other acharyas, we can escape from this material entanglement. And human life is really meant for this purpose only, and not for sense enjoyment like animals. And it is our inquiry about the supreme absolute truth that is our purpose. But most people are engaged schools and colleges and universities to learn about the relative truth, which is not the goal of human life. Of course, it is important. We don't say that it is. It has to be. No, we never say that. Prabhupada never told that this is not important. But there is a superior things, and that is a superior goal we have while we remain in this situation. And if we want to get rid, if we have to get rid of the Jora or the Kalakanya, we must follow the instruction of our spiritual master. And in this way, we have not to take birth again, but we must ask ourselves if we are serious about it and what we are doing for this. If we are still attached to the world, and as you know, Krishna does not want to interfere with our individual freedom. Whatever one does, Krishna sanctions it. Whatever one wants to do. So if we are attached to this material world, we will come back to this material world again. But if we are fully surrendered to Krishna and we want to get rid of our attachment fully, then we will get rid of this material world and go back to the abode of the Lord. As Krishna never interferes with individual freedom. So if we are serious going back to Godhead, and we have to change our material attachment to spiritual attachment. And in Bhagavad Gita, it is 325, Srimad Bhagavatam, 325:20. Prasangam ajaram pasam atmano kavoy vidu soyevo sadhu sukrito mokshadaram apabrito. That means if the attachment we have for these material things and the material life, if we just change it to the devotees, and then our attachment for a sadhu or a proper devotee of the Lord, then automatically we get free from the attachment of this material world. It is not that our attachment has to be get rid of. We will have attachment. Human beings, so long we have this body, we will have attachment always. But our attachment, the field has to be changed, the direction has to be changed. So if we act seriously and endeavor with dedication for this, then we will be successful, because the rituals become spiritual when we associate with the devotees and take the guidance of superior devotees for our progress. The more we associate with them, the stronger is our faith. The stronger is our faith, the more sincere we are to our service to the Lord. And Krishna reciprocates favorably with the endeavor of his devotees. We know the life of Ajamila, who did very little in his early life. Not all his life he did that, but whatever little he has done, as mentioned in 240, Lord has given the example in the life of Ajamila that even a small devotional service done to the Lord never goes unrewarded. And the Lord never forgets his devotees. And that's why his name is, he is never Achyuto, he never fades from that. So in this way, by the blessing of the Vaishnavas and our Guru and Gauranga, we can get the lotus feet of Radha Krishna if we try seriously. And we should always remember that it is not an option for us, but the only way to make our human life successful. And with that, I am concluding. If anyone has any questions, any comments, or any points to make, and if any mistakes I have committed, and I welcome you all to make your comments. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Such a wonderful explanation of the text. It is very obvious that we know all about this, but we don't want to know. That is the biggest problem. As we, as a devotee, we try, as a practicing devotee, what we understand, that everything is nature's, means everything belongs to God. So then why do we offer everything to Lord during our worship? The reason is, though it is the possession of the Lord, but we offer the Lord with a love, and that is what Lord is after. Similarly, when it comes to the body, we don't understand that thing. We understand the body is ours. Why we should offer to Lord, and that's what the conflict starts on. So the Narad Muni is just trying to explain to Prachin Parishad, as we understand that everything belongs to Lord, we offer to different process of worshipping. Similarly, we need to offer our body before we leave this body from this material world. And that is the preparation for us to understand why this has to be offered back to Lord. So all these processes help us to understand the preparation, but being egoistic, we don't understand, we don't want to understand, or we don't understand. That's why Shastra is giving us the guidance to prepare our body so that we can offer this at the end of our life as a property to the Lord, as we often do the offerings to the Lord. So the thing is, we offer our body with love. How it can be done? By preparing ourselves for the process of offering through these various processes, that is devotional service. That's why, because this human life is so important, God has given this opportunity to prepare ourselves. Like text 719, Bhaunan Janmanante,
Lobdha.
Jnanavan Mam Prabhaddate, Vasudeva Shalvamiti, Sha Mahatma Shudurlava. It is so important and so valuable, but we need to understand that importance. So, similarly, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, this 761, Prahlad Maharaj is explaining the same thing to prepare our life right from the beginning of, at the early stage of our life, so that we can be aligned with the process of devotional service to offer it to the Lord in the right perspective. So Narad Muni is giving the same advice to King Prachin Varishan to prepare the same body for the offering to the Lord. And that's the subject matter of this text today. Thank you so much explaining this to us with so simple and various references from the Shastra, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, to explain this simple thing. But being possessive, we don't try to understand that, to live the possessiveness, because it is the property of the Lord. We need to live it with proper devotion to the Lord, back to Him, so that we can be happier and being with the Lord in the next life. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the nice explanation. In fact, the importance of the human body, one has to understand it. And this is the human life is a rare opportunity. You have got it and you have to utilize it properly. That is the lesson. Hare Krishna. So anybody else wants to make any comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you very much for your nice class and so many nice points, reminding us of this miseries of the old age and death, and again the three kleshas as well. Thank you so much for that. So I was just thinking, like, in terms of this human psychology. So when things are going nicely, I am thinking, oh, it's not bad. It's quite okay only. It's not it's not so bad here. It's like, what's wrong? I have to just be happy. I have to just be jolly, and it's all good. So I'm just thinking how to overcome that. Because when I know when things are awry, then I feel, oh, no, there's lots of problems here. But if things are going nice, weather is good, everything is nice, then I think, oh yeah, things are not bad. Like you can just continue like this. There's nothing wrong. So how to overcome that? I was just thinking, Prabhu.
Thank you very much. I think you were elevated duty. What I will say, Prabhuji, one thing we can say very easily, as you told, that this life in this material, not only life, everything in this material world is dualistic. So what you say, you are absolutely right that when we are in happiness, there is a tendency to forget the Lord. That's why distress comes, and the Lord has also made the arrangement for that. You cannot have uninterrupted happiness. A distress will come to this material world again, because the misery is bound to come, and that is the God's reminding us. In fact, to be honest, I was remembering my Guru Maharaj, Guru Maharaj. Yesterday he has got his daily message. It was there that because when misery is calm, that is an opportunity for us to remember the Lord, and Lord arranges it also. So when a misery comes, an intelligent person, a devotee, understand that. Has to understand that. In other words, that it is given by the Lord. That we as you have told, in happiness we forget Him, so He gives us gives us misery as well, so that He reminds us that in this material world, you cannot have uninterrupted happiness. Miseries will come anyway, and that is an opportunity. And so yes, so although in happiness there is a tendency to forget the Lord also made, and you cannot be free from misery in this material world. And that's why, Kunti Mataji has asked for miseries all the time, because that will give us an opportunity to pray to the Lord. And in fact, this is the message, that happiness will not be permanent in this material world, and the Lord has made this arrangement, so it is infallible. One cannot be in happiness, provided he is intelligent, of course. Hare Krishna. Is it answers your question, Prabhu?
No, thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much.
Any other questions from any one person, or any other comments? Okay, it appears no other person to make comments, so we are concluding the class.
कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
अनंत
कोटि
कोटि
वैष्णव वृंद की जय।
His Grace अभय चरण प्रभु की जय।
जय।
गौर प्रेमानंदे
हरि हरि बोल।
All glories to assembled devotees.
हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna.